Hey guys, it's Kelsey and back with another scrapbooking process video. This one is for Paper Issues Scrap Soup, which is one of my favorite types of challenges. This is a recipe challenge, so that's a list there of everything we're supposed to use. This is one of the Lampasas, Texas pages, so this is part of the sculpture garden that we went to. So I'm going to start by paper piecing this page together with a few scraps that I have, and then I'll go from there. So we were supposed to use 3 photos, so I just pulled out 3 photos from this part of the day. Orange, which I know that's like my only collection that has orange in it. So it's very teal and orange, but it also has these muted versions which are more mint and coral. So that's why I'm starting with the background, and then I'll add a few pops of bright orange as we go. We needed to use a striped paper, so I'll bring that in there. I'm going to use that as the border as well as in a few embellishments. We had to use a triangle and then either a cut file or 5 die cuts. And I'm very sad, I do not have an electronic die cutting machine, so I do not have any cut files. But I am just going to make my own embellishments with a bunch of die cuts, so that's how I'll use that. But I know right away that my biggest challenge out of this recipe is going to be the triangle. I'm not quite sure how to incorporate it, so I decide that I'm just going to make basically a banner, bunting, I don't know what you would call that. Basically a triangle base for my embellishment clusters. So I'm going to have a larger one up in that corner, and then I'm going to mimic it down in the bottom left with a smaller triangle. And then I just wanted to create a shelf for my photos to rest on so they weren't floating in the middle of the page, so I'm going to start by adding some papers there as well. I love the beginning of the month because it means new challenges, so I'm super excited. Paper Issues has released a bunch. Mercy TR 27 Day Scrappy Challenge released a new one, and then we have Scraptacular Cropping Club has their once a week, so they'll release their next one tomorrow. Maybe it's today by the time this goes live. There we go, and then I decided I was going to fussy cut more of these cacti to use in some of the embellishment clusters as well. That scrap of paper I had left over was such a weird shape, I knew I wasn't really going to be able to use it as a big chunk, so I figured I might as well cut some of these out. So my mind first goes to punches, which is why I pulled out that scallop punch. And then I'm like, wait, it's to use dies, not punches. So I'll go and cut some dies out as well. But I usually use that scallop punch as a base for homemade embellishments anyways, so it's not like I won't use it. But that's my little tin of dies, so I'm just picking out a few things that I know I can layer up. I typically use the same formula to make homemade embellishments, and I like to start with some sort of banner on the back with a circular element with like hearts or something like that over the top. It's a real easy way to get a cute little layered embellishment. I'm fighting again with my diamond press. I love that die cutting machine. Don't see me struggle and think you shouldn't get one. I bought that because I didn't have any die cutting machine at all, and this was the most economic version. It's just a small little tabletop, and it was like $20 something, which I was like, it's not bad just to try out die cutting before I invested in a larger one. Oh my gosh guys, I use it so much. It's awesome. Just like any other die cutting machine, the dies will eventually warp that folder, which is why I have such a hard time because I really need to replace it. But yeah, I use that a lot. It's a good size for a lot of smaller embellishments. But just like my other pages from this day, that fox that's in that collection is going to be one of the cohesive elements, so I'm fussy cutting him out to go on here. I think I mentioned in a previous video from this page, but this collection is very themey. It has a lot of fox and cacti, which can seem really random, but because this trip was in Texas, I'm like, this is my chance to use all of these, because after this trip is over, if I have any left in this collection, they're probably not going to get used ever. love this fox in the collection though. We didn't even see any foxes while we were out here, but that's okay. I'll move the page down in a second. Sorry, I'm off screen. I didn't really need that doily up there, but I'm in a kick lately the past few months where I like using doilies on every page, so why not just continue the trend. They always do add a nice layered textured element, but I know they're on a lot of my pages recently, but I'm okay with that, so it's fine. But you can just see that top embellishment cluster. I have 2 layered hearts, which I do that a lot. I love layering smaller hearts over bigger hearts. And then I have the banner over that triangle, over the scalloped and the doily, and then the fox on there too. So I think that's a cute little cluster. And I was going for my title. These are just some Heidi Swap plastic letters, but I'm out of T's, so I end up not using them. I was having a hard time thinking of a title. I end up just going back to these root beer float thickers. I love those thickers. And I have a fresh set, so I know I can spell anything I want. So I'm just going to call this Sculpture, and then I'll end up going back with my Tim Holtz label letter from Ideology and expanding the title. But this is the main part, so. Trying to decide, because my photos are crooked, I guess, tilted a little bit on the edges just to add some interest. It's giving me some issues with lining up my title, so I'm trying to figure out how to create a line so that I can keep it straight, and then I'll scooch it all over so I can add my E because I ran out of room. This was the Hanna Spring Sculpture Garden I'd mentioned in a previous video of this day. So after we ate, this is where we went first, because I know my pages are all out of order chronologically right now as you're seeing them, but we went to the Sculpture Garden, then the Springs, then the Wildlife Reserve. So that's how they go in the scrapbook if you did see the other pages. And then I like copying the letters somewhere else on the page, so I'm just going to put the date down in that bottom corner. I'm just looking for some things to add. I know I'm getting close to being done, but it definitely needs more. And I definitely wanted to bring in more of the bright orange, since orange was one of those recipe elements. I know coral is orange, but it's not like this orange, so I wanted to get more of the fox orange on here. So I'm just going to use my diamond border punch, and I'm going to scooch that underneath that shelf. I was going to try and incorporate that scrap, but it doesn't make it on there, I don't think. But I will save it. I will get it on a layout at some point. And then I keep forgetting about these label stickers. I got them from a garage sale like forever ago. And I'm not a huge label user, and I should be, because they look really good in clustered, layery pieces. But it had an orange that matched perfect, so I got a few of those on here. So I was super happy about that. Is looking a little empty on that left side, so I'm going to build up a little section there with those cacti. See, I tried to use it there. Does it stay? I don't remember. No. Okay. I didn't think it did. I just couldn't remember. And then that piece that I cut the fox from had this little journaling box, so I figured I'd go ahead and just use that for my journaling over there. I thought about stacking it above the title, and I do like that, but the page kind of looks uneven with how much is on the right side versus the left, so it goes back down by those cacti. And I do pop that one cactus up on some foam so it has a little more dimension. I just thought something else needed to be popped up since the thickers have some dimension, and that was pretty much the only thing that was popped up on this page, so I like having that one cactus that has a little dimension behind it. And I can't draw straight without lines to save my life, so I'm gonna go ahead and draw my lines in on this before I journal. This place had some really cool sculptures, but also had some really weird ones, which I guess is usually the case, and most of the abstract ones I never understand. But they had that one in the middle, which was so funny. It was this really old truck that had like a giant catfish on it. Like that's an actual truck there for size reference. And so that was a fun one for us to see. And then I loved that zebra one. It had some gold details on it. And then to the left there, that's my uncle, my mom, and my aunt. We're looking at one of the more abstract ones. I'm just trying to layer up that area so it looks more complete. And then I gotta add my Nuvo drops. But I think I'm done here in a minute. Yep, so that's the finished page. Stay tuned for more challenges. We have a lot to get through this month, so I'm super excited about that. Thanks guys for watching. Bye.